and I do want to talk about that AFC Championship game. Heading into this game, I picked the Bills to win because I was like, if they are able to establish the run, they have that run game, which they have not had in previous times. Benford going out in that game sucked. That definitely hurt the defense there. But ultimately, they kept it really damn close. That was a fun freaking game. And it is just heartbreaking to see just over and over and over again, like the Bills get this freaking close, man, because going expectations for this season, and this is why I'm talking about, the kind of looking forward a little bit. I know it's hard to do right now, but going into this season, a lot of folks are looking at the Bills and, hell, man, I went to MafiaCon, right? And I'm talking to Bills fans. They're like, yeah, we'll see how we do this year. We don't know what our wide receiver situation is going to be. Is Coleman going to be the guy? Is Curtis Samuel? Can Shakir step up? We'll kind of see how it looks.
Yeah.
They had a top 10 rushing attack, top 10 passing attack, and they were the number 2 seed in the AFC, right? So they deserve a ton. They, I think, exceeded expectations. Of course, the Jets plummeted into the planet. But ultimately, for the Bills, you would hope, and you've mentioned this year after year, having Josh Allen is meaning you're going to be competitive, right? And they got a pretty good defense. They had the run game to finally support him. I think there's excitement about what you can build upon for next season. But I think there are fair enough questions, right? Like McDermott, for example. Folks were asking, is he going to get fired if they lose today? And I'm like, there's no shot. There's no shot that they're going to fire a guy that helped bring them to the AFC Championship game. There's questions of, can he get you over that hump? I mean, the same questions are asked about Shanahan, right? About the Super Bowl. Can he get over the hump? I think ultimately, if you are able to build on that roster, I think things are looking good. Elam, obviously, not so great. Might have to make some changes there on the defense. But ultimately, yeah, it's hurtful for the Bills, but I'm pretty darn optimistic about their future.
Yeah, I think if you're looking at, their receiving core, right? You were obviously hopeful you'd get more out of Keon Coleman this season.
Yeah.
Ladd McConkey goes right after him. I think if they could redo it, they probably go Ladd in that situation, because then they've got a more dynamic receiver instantly in their receiving game, and maybe Keon Coleman turns into the guy they need him to be in this game.
Yeah.
They go to Amari Cooper late on one of those fourth downs, or third down, whatever it was, and he's one shoestring tackle away from picking up the first, maybe breaking off a longer play. Amari is, and it's just you need somebody to be able to break that open, and they don't really have that. Now, Mac Hollins was great. His touchdown reception was insane. He got him down to the 2. He kept him in the game. So Mac Hollins was great. James Cook was great. They're lacking something. They're lacking 3 freaking points against the Chiefs. They're lacking converting on 4th and short, or picking up the 2-point conversion after they kicked the PAT. And it was frustrating, because we can talk about the 4th down spot or whatever, but
sure,
they kept trying those QB sneaks, Buffalo, and they were not working, and they weren't running them effectively. Romo was talking about the Chiefs were jumping it. They knew the cadence, and the one time after Romo said that, Josh did a couple hard counts, got the Chiefs to flinch twice, and then picked it up. But he was letting, I think, them have the advantage in those situations. You have James Cook rushing for 6 yards a pop. I don't know why you keep going back to that play when you're and the Bills, they did that well all season. But what you want to see from Buffalo is, in a game where that's not working, pick a different fucking angle. Try something different, because you're struggling with that specific play. That's what bothered me. And then I think I saw it was Dan Orlovsky pointing out on that final drive, right? This is what's really frustrating, is the Bills hold Kansas City to the field goal.
Yeah.
Josh gets the ball back with timeouts. That's what you want, because they can close out the game, theoretically. And when you want to blame all the other shit, which I will, of course, but they had the ball, they had the opportunity, and they didn't deliver when it mattered.
True.
So Orlovsky goes to, I think it's the first down play on that drive, where Josh just throws it over the middle. Romo says he's throwing it away. Orlovsky's I think he wants to hit Mac Hollins here, thinking Mac's going to shoot up. But what he's pointing out on the all 22 was, I think it was Kincaid was in the flat for the check down. And he's we've seen Josh take this check down so many times this season. If he takes that check down, they pick up yards there, maybe even the
Yeah.
first down, versus trying to make a very low probability throw in that situation. So you're pointing to a play, to something Josh has done really well all year. And in that moment, if he just takes the safer bet, he puts the offense in a better chance to succeed the next play versus
Sure.
being in 2nd and 10. And then we all know how it ended after that. Like
Sure.
they couldn't convert. So I think it's the little things in this game that really are going to sting for Bills fans. Just a few of those little decisions. And it feels like that's deja vu as well. Every postseason Bills Chiefs, you're like, there's 1 or 2 plays
Yep.
they didn't. And of course, if Dalton Kincaid can grab that ball at the end, we're
Yeah.
talking about Josh Allen making one of the greatest throws
Oh,
in
yeah.
the playoffs,
Yep.
like,
To your point, Brandon, I completely agree with you. And like that's where I'm at, right? Because we can talk about the calls and stuff, but the way that I was looking at that drive in which they hold him to a field goal, and I was like, oh man, like I'm streaming. I'm like, this is the best case scenario for the Bills. There's 3 minutes and 33 seconds left. You have all 3 timeouts. You have the 2-minute warning. You could have a long sustained drive. At worst, you tie the game, and at best, you go and win the game and don't
yeah,
leave them any time. And I know because they handed the ball off, and then I think Josh scrambled to get the first, and then it was 4 incompletions in a row, right?
yeah,
And it's in that situation, like you're not trying to score quickly. You're trying to take as much time off the clock as possible.
yeah,
And you're going and trying to like at least get a field goal there.
yeah.
So
Take
like
the
you don't
safe
give them
throw
any
there.
time back. So like that just didn't make sense to me, just that sequence, because you didn't have to be overly aggressive. You had more than enough time. And then ultimately, even at the very end, they had an opportunity if their defense can make a stop there to get the ball back. They wouldn't have had a ton of time. They're like, probably less than a minute or something, but they just need a field goal. And unfortunately, just like at the very end, it kind of fell apart and they had opportunities. But